Okay, Kevin, you're sort of the daddy of the red-eye shad. Why does that work? When does it work? And why does it work so well during the pre-spawn?
Well, lipless crankbaits are very good when the water's cold. It's the flat sides that trigger the bass into biting. I mean, and the vibration that they make. So it's just a really good bait, you know, to use. What makes a red-eye shad so special, though, is the way that it falls. Instead of just sinking to the bottom or anything like that, it has a shimmy. It'll actually wiggle when it drops. So when you rip it out of the grass, it flutters down like a dying bait fish. So, you know, it just has that extra action that other baits just don't have. So, I mean, it's a tremendous bait when the bass are anywhere on flat water. And so in the spring of the year, when they're, you know, just moving up for these pre-spawn type tournaments like we're here at Guntersville, there's just so much water that has that shallow grass in it. So lipless crankbait is just a great tool because you can cover a lot of area with it to find the fish.
Kevin, what color red-eye shad do you like the best and why?
Well, early in this year, bass are feeding a lot on crayfish, so I like a lot of the crayfish colors, you know, the red, the browns, things like that. As the water warms up and the fish transition to shad and bluegills, I like to, you know, use those type of colors too. So, you know, it's a great tool to catch bass anytime they're in you know, shallow, flat water like that. So it's a lure that I use year-round, but it's especially deadly in the pre-spawn.
Kevin, what kind of action do you give it when you're fishing it?
You know, the main thing that I do is try to come in contact with the bottom with it. So if I can cast it out there, let it sink down a little bit, and reel it along so it's ticking along the bottom and ticking along the grass, that's a good thing. So anytime it ricochets off a piece of cover, it's a good way to trigger a bass. If the water's cold like it is now, a lot of times I kind of do a pull and stop. So I'll kind of pull it and let it fall, pull it and let it fall. So it just kind of, you know, enhances the action, the way that bait falls every time you pull it and let it drop.
What pound test line, rod, and reel do you like to fish it with and why?
I like to throw it on a longer rod, and it just helps me control the depth of that bait. If I need to keep the bait up in shallower water, I can hold the rod tip up. You know, so I'll throw a 7-foot rod, 7.5-foot fiberglass composite cranking rod, and you know, I'm going to use the same thing with the line. You know, lighter line. If I'm trying to get the bait deeper, you know, I'll go down to 10 or 12 pound test. And then, you know, like here at Guntersville where there's a lot of shallow grass, I'll throw it with 14 or 17 pound to help, you know, rip that bait out of the cover a little better. That heavier line helps you do that.
Kevin, we had a bad cold rain come in just for the Classic. What happens to those bass when that happens? It was muddied to water too. Where do they go and what do they do?
Yeah, you know, I think the fish really don't move real far, but they kind of go into a state of shock. You know, they wait until the conditions are a little better for them. So, you know, when you got cold water and you get a big influx of mud like that, it's never a good thing.
If people want to know more about Kevin VanDam and how you fish, and where can they go and learn that?
Well, probably one of the easiest things to do is just go to my website, kevinvandam.com. You know, there's a lot of stuff there. Also do a lot of television, do a lot for the Strike King television show and also Bass Pro Shops for their show. So all of that stuff you can find on YouTube, a lot of the old shows and things like that. Of course, always on the Outdoor Channel too.
Thank you, Kevin.